Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to a playthrough of a brand new ROM hack, BS-1 Deluxe, the ROM hack that combines all official SNES F-Zero content into one convenient package. You have the 4 original vanilla F-Zero vehicles, but you also have the BS F-Zero vehicles, including the Blue Thunder, the Luna Bomber, the Green Amazon, really, and the Fire Scorpion. And in addition to being able to select any of these 8 vehicles, you have the full collection of SNES F-Zero tracks, all 15 from the original game, and the 10 BS F-Zero courses, 5 of which were thought to be lost media. Until today, and I'm gonna play through all of them on Master Mode, so let's get started with the Night League. Round 1, Mute City 1! The glorious Mute City theme. Once again, I am so happy to be playing this again for you guys. It has been a long time since I played F-Zero on the SNES, but back then, I was playing on Baby Mode, otherwise known as Expert Mode. I'm going to do Master Mode for you guys, which you unlock for each individual league when you beat that league on Expert Mode, which means I needed to play through all 5 leagues in this ROM hack, but that's fine with me. I'm going to do Master Mode and prove that I am the best F-Zero player. That's why I'm using a broken machine. Yes, the BS F-Zero machines are undoubtedly stronger than the vanilla machines. They don't have as many weaknesses compared to the originals, but they are balanced better in my opinion. You could play any of them on Master Mode in my opinion. However, it does make the vanilla courses a lot easier, because the Blue Thunder, it has a top speed of 470. That's not far behind the Fire Stingray and the Luna Bomber, which for speedrunners are probably going to be the go-to machines still. The Luna Bomber especially. I don't think it has the acceleration problem that the Fire Stingray has. But the Blue Thunder, for beginners, it's got good enough cornering, it's got an excellent top speed, and it even recovers pretty quickly as well, by means of having a lower life bar. But Master Mode is still very difficult, because when we get to the King League, oh, that's gonna be a nightmare, even with overpowered machines. In this video, I'm going to be playing through the Night League, the Queen League, and the first BS League. The BS Leagues are additions to this ROM hack, and I will talk more about them when we get to them. So when we get to BS-1 League, that's when I will explain what is up with the BS courses and just how BS they are. But yeah, Mute City 1, there's not a lot going on here. It is the classic track that has been recycled so many times that they can't stop recycling it in F-Zero 99. Yes. One of the disappointing things about F-Zero 99 is that they refuse to bring any of the BS F-Zero content to F-Zero 99, even though it would be very fitting. So once again, the ROM hackers are doing what Nintendo don't, and that was a bit of a scare in the actual race that I haven't been talking about until now. Don't expect a lot of first places. Well, you can expect a couple, but the thing about Master Mode, even with the BS vehicles, is that, how do I say this? If you get into first place and stay there, then it's not as interesting to watch, but if you slip up even once, then you're in trouble, because that gives the machines an opportunity to catch up to you. Anyways, round 2, Big Blue, the glorious track with the timeless theme that has been remixed over and over again, probably even more than Mute City as a matter of fact. I mean, people didn't even know about the F-Zero GX Mute City remix until I told them. Well, some of the people I know didn't know until I told them. So what can be said about Big Blue? It's big, and it's blue. That's all you really need to say, I guess. There's an ice zone at the end of this course. Don't turn too much while you're on it, or else you will slip, as you can imagine from ice. But then again, these are hover cars hovering above the track, so why does ice and dirt affect them? I don't really know. But I haven't really explained some of the differences SNES F-Zero has from its successors, because I would imagine at this point most of the hardcore F-Zero players are familiar with X and GX, which are amazing games in their own right, and I do indeed want to play F-Zero X on Master Mode, for more than a couple of reasons. Namely, I can actually play on Master Mode now. That game was so hard I could not do Master Mode until very recently. But I learned how, and I've had much more experience with GX, so of course I did Master Mode in my original playthrough of that too. Anyways, I've fallen very far behind in this race, so I'm going to have to play catch-up. Luckily, Big Blue is a very big course. It's right there in the title, so I have a lot of time to catch up to these generic-looking vehicles. For whatever reason, the orange cars, they don't count as additional racers. They're literally there just to be obstacles. They are like the gray bumpers that you see in F-Zero 99. And of course, with gray bumpers comes red bumpers, the exploding cars. They were in this game as well. There's more and more of them as you get through more of the race, until the final lap, which there were 2 of them just now in addition to the Luna Bomber, which I conveniently slammed out of the way. Now, this ROM hack is very, very well crafted. I like it a lot. But one thing that is kind of puzzling to me is that with the BS cars in particular, when they slam into each other, they don't react to physical violence the way you might think they would. A very common strategy in F-Zero is to have the machine behind you bump into you, as that will give you a speed increase. But when I do it with the BS vehicles, it's fine with the vanilla vehicles, but with the BS vehicles, it just doesn't seem to work as well that way as it used to. Ah, well. Maybe that's the price you pay for playing overpowered vehicles, am I right? So this race in particular was very close. I very nearly slipped up at the end in the ice zone. But that brings Big Blue to a close. Don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen. If you like the Big Blue theme, there's going to be a second Big Blue course, so look forward to that. Round 3, Sand Ocean. From one ocean to the next, it seems. The Sand Ocean is rather long, and it has a lot of curves. But I think I should be able to handle it. The Blue Thunder has excellent cornering, as you can see. Its acceleration is not up to par with the green Amazon. I don't know why it's called Amazon, but that's the vehicle right in front of me. If you select a BS vehicle in this ROM hack, you will play against BS vehicles, and if you select a vanilla vehicle, then it's going to be all vanilla vehicles. So if I decide to play Wild Goose, for example, I'm going to have the Fire Stingray and the Golden Fox to contend with. And generally speaking, the Golden Fox and the Green Amazon are the worst vehicles to play against. They have max acceleration, and normally that would come with the penalty of low top speed, but on Master Mode, all enemy vehicles have the same top speed of 478, so no wonder the Green Amazon has a tendency to go way out in front, and you just can't catch up to it at that point. That's the problem with this game, honestly. It's very difficult to catch up to first place if you fall behind. So, even though it looks like I'm doing fine, in first place you have only those orange cars to contend with, and the red bumpers, of course. But if you can deal with them, then you can very easily stay in first place. You just have to not make a mistake or slow down for any reason. And as we get into the later courses, there's going to be a lot of reasons to slow down. Either the course itself will force you, or the cars will force you. I almost ran into the red bumper there, as a matter of fact. So, a difference between this F-Zero and the later games is that in this game, you only have 1 boost per lap, and it doesn't cost any of your energy meter. Well, you can save boosts for later laps if you want, but you can see that those 3 green S's, those are my super jets. You get 1 per lap, and by pressing the A button, you get a super boost. You go up to about 500 kilometers an hour for a couple of seconds. And this is not only helpful for speeding past enemy vehicles, you can also speed through some obstacle zones, such as dirt. The computer never goes into the dirt zone, so there, for example, I use the boost to get past the orange car by going through the dirt, because it'll never touch the dirt on its own. I mean, you can slam into vehicles and send them off course, but the thing is, the AI, by default, it never strays from a predefined path through the courses. And I think for some of the BS courses, those actually had to be recreated from scratch, as we'll soon see. I'll explain more later, but in the BS courses, I think they maybe made a couple of mistakes with the AI's path through those, so it's going to be a little bit easier. And also the BS courses are not designed to kill you nearly as much. So there you saw the orange car kind of speed past me. I think it's because it bumped into the orange car in front of it. So I guess those cars still behave normally. Anyways, that's the end of Sand Ocean, and there was just a red bumper past the finish line. A little late to be trying to stop me. I got first place. Now it's time for the course that everyone loves. Round 4, Deathwind 1. Deathwind. Very appropriate for the 4th course. Now, it may look like just a straight oval, but the wind in this course actually pushes you to the right. so I have to drive at an angle in order to maintain a straight line. That oddly doesn't count when you are on the, well, first of all, when you are dashing with these dash plates, they give you a boost for free if you touch them. And the annoying thing is, you absolutely have to race this course perfectly, or one of the cars behind you is going to hit the dash plate and speed right past you. Even the orange cars can do it. So racing this course with the Golden Fox, for example, is very, very difficult. The Golden Fox does not have the speed to catch up to any of the other vehicles normally. So you absolutely have to hit every dash plate. Like, if you can get first place on Master Mode with the Golden Fox, you are just amazing at this game, if you ask me. Or you just raced perfectly and didn't touch any enemy vehicles at all. You can see that I'm struggling to catch up to the Green Amazon for the same reason. It's got the same max acceleration that the Golden Fox had. I can just barely catch up to it because corners like that are basically your only chance to slip past the AI in a course like this. But as you can see, I missed the dash plate and the Green Amazon just speeds right past me anyways. The thing is, as long as you are taking a more efficient line through the course than the AI, then you're going to be okay, because you'll just cut right past them at every opportunity. And again, I speed through the dirt with the Superjet, and that allows me to slip past the enemy vehicle, but he's right behind me still. No matter how far forward you go, the AI is always going to be just a little bit behind you so that they can speed right past you if you make a mistake like this, for example. And I very nearly lost the race here because you actually have to finish in third place or higher, as indicated by the safe number that you see there right next to my rank, and my score. Score is another thing in the original F-Zero that they don't do ever again, because score literally just handles your extra lives, and later on they make it so that destroying enemy vehicles gives you your extra lives. You can't really destroy any enemy vehicles in the original F-Zero. You can kind of knock them off course. They don't actually, like, die if they fall off the course or anything after a jump, for example. But if you slam them into a wall, then that can cause them to not be able to catch up to you. Now it's time for the final Night League course. Round 5, Silence. Worst name ever for an F-Zero course. There's going to be a lot of noise here. So F-Zero's final course for the Night League is notable for having the first instance of mines. You can cut through this little shortcut, which the AI never cuts through, oddly enough, so that's a very easy way to cut past the AI and get into first place. Then you have this S-curve, which nobody likes in F-Zero 99. Very easy to clear that. Just boost after the S-curve to get your speed back, which is what I'm going to do in subsequent laps. You can't do it on the first lap, of course, because you don't have a boost. But in F-Zero 99, as soon as you cross the finish line, then you've got your boost. Anyways, there's also a... Oh, I have accidentally hit the mines and almost missed the jump plate, but the Green Amazon was actually very helpful and slammed me in the direction I needed to go. Thank you, Green Amazon. You were so helpful at letting me win. Such a nice vehicle driver. I wonder who drives the BS machines, because I don't think they ever actually conceived any of the F-Zero characters. Well, they had to have conceived Captain Falcon. Actually, all of the drivers for the original vehicles were in the manual, so of course they knew who was driving these vehicles, but we never got any images of the pilots for the BS vehicles. Maybe it's just the same pilots as before. I can see, well, actually I can't really see Pico driving anything but the Wild Goose. The Wild Goose is very in character for Pico. But yeah, before I start getting into F-Zero deep lore, we only have 2 laps left, so I should also mention that the Silence course is oddly shaped like a gun. I don't really know why that is, but I missed the jump pad, so I had to speed past the dirt with a boost in order to maintain my first place, which means I'm going to have to use the boost that I carried over from a previous lap in order to maintain my speed. Well, actually, I'm not using it here. I guess I felt that I didn't really need it right away. Or I could use it on the straightaway here. This is another good spot for the Superjet. And we are coming to the end of the Night League. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be another Silence course in the next league. So that's going to be very nice. I do like this track. The music track, that is. This track is kind of okay-ish, if you ask me, but the music, pretty good. Oddly enough, in BS F-Zero, when you get to the Silence course, the music is actually entirely different. Oh, that was very close. If I had fallen to 4th place, it would have just been over for me. Anyways, the music in BS F-Zero is based on this one jazz album that they had for the original F-Zero, so the silence track on that album is completely different from the vanilla silence track, and I don't really know why that is. It doesn't sound anything like original Silence. Deathwind was also arranged very heavily. So that's interesting. So when you played BS F-Zero, then you would hear that music instead. See, the thing about BS F-Zero is BS stands for Broadcast Satellite and not the thing you were probably thinking about. So the way it worked, it was essentially like a downloadable game service. You could download a game and play it for 1 hour precisely. These games were distributed over a satellite, so you had to be online at the right time. You had to be logged in at the right time, essentially. It's like watching a TV program. And they even had audio commentary with a special audio track as well. So there was remixed music as well. It was really nice. So for the original run of BS F-Zero, they would let you download each league one at a time, with each league topping off with an original course never before seen. And then they did something interesting. They ran BS F-Zero 2, which had 2 leagues. It only had 2 leagues, unfortunately. There was probably meant to be even more after that, but they just didn't do it. They canceled it after 2 leagues. So they had 2 leagues, and in these leagues were entirely new courses, never before seen on any form of F-Zero, and Forest 1 is one of them. Round 1 for BS-1 League, Forest 1. I don't know if this is referring to Devil's Forest from F-Zero X. It could be, I don't know for sure, but apparently Devil's Forest is supposed to be Deathwind from the original F-Zero. I don't know. I said I wouldn't get into F-Zero deep lore, but it appears that I am anyways. So, you might be wondering, how did the ROM hackers get their hands on these brand new courses that were never before seen? Well, there was a ROM leaked. It was called the BS F-Zero 2 Practice ROM, I think, and it had 5 of the courses in it. The other 5, which includes Forest 1, we only really saw these courses in VHS recordings of BS F-Zero 2 during its original run. So what the ROM hackers did is that they had to recreate this entire course with just the VHS recordings as a guide, and I think that is so amazing that they managed to pull it off. They probably had help, like they probably had like some kind of analysis tool or something, I don't know. But it's so amazing. We can finally play these tracks sort of in their original form. They're probably not exact replicas, there's probably a mistake here or there, but it does look very authentic. And these forest graphics too, I think they were also recreated from the VHS recordings, but also I think the practice ROM had unused forest graphics in it, so they might have used that as well. I don't know for sure, but the fact that I'm finally able to play a track that was originally thought to be entirely lost media, pretty awesome. And I do like the design of these tracks as well. You might have noticed that Forest 1 actually doesn't have a pit zone for recovering your health. So that means every bit of damage you take is permanent, but the course is very short. You don't need to worry too much. And even on Master difficulty, well, I did have kind of a slip-up at the end, but I was able to pull ahead and recover to take first place. Pretty good. Next up, we have a course that was seen on the practice ROM. Round 2, Big Blue 2. If you thought the original was amazing, wait until you see this one. So it is a little bit similar to the original Big Blue, but there are more slip zones and there are even some jump pads and a lot more dirt as well. Interesting note about Big Blue 2. Big Blue 2 was actually changed a little bit between BS F-Zero 1 when it originally debuted and the practice ROM that I just mentioned, and the practice ROM version was used in BS F-Zero 2's run. So, you can see that there are a couple of extra slip zones on the turns. It's still very easy to avoid sliding around so long as you do not turn too sharply while you're on the ice, and also let go of the accelerator, because when you put on the accelerator again, that kind of boosts you towards whatever direction you are facing, so that's helpful. That's why I keep letting go of the accelerator and boosting again. If I were playing F-Zero Maximum Velocity on the GBA, or any of the GBA games as a matter of fact, there's a technique you can use called blast turning, where you rapidly tap the A button when you are turning, and that will allow you to turn sharper without losing as much speed. That doesn't work in F-Zero on the SNES. You have to just let go of the accelerator in order to turn sharper, and also use the L and R buttons to lean your vehicle into the turn. That's another thing you can do. Not really necessary. And also, you could probably get through this sequence of turns by simply driving straight if you take the exact line you need to get through all of those turns without actually turning. Efficient driving. That is the key technique in the original F-Zero. As long as you are driving efficiently, you can defeat the AI on any course. And you might have noticed that arrow off to the left. That arrow is made of jump plates. You can actually bounce on it if you want. I don't really know what the point of that is. There's not really a huge purpose to bouncing on that arrow, but if you want to have some fun, get a little swag points, maybe take a bit of a shortcut, you probably could cut off a little bit of the track, as I am doing here by boosting through that dirt area once again. That's one of the primary uses of your Superjet. And also, the jump plate will also recover your speed. You can see that it increased it to the max of 478, but I ran into a vehicle, so I had to use Superjet here again. And then I hit another car. Yeah, you want to avoid hitting too many cars, but that's the end of Big Blue 2. Sadly, there's no more Big Blue past this point. Instead, they decided to throw in more forest courses. But hey, that's fine. Round 3, Sandstorm 1. Hey, wait a minute, this is just a reskinned Sand Ocean. Why are you naming it something completely different? I would have preferred Sand Ocean 2, but alright, I'll take it. So, Sandstorm 1, very basic course. You have this interesting little obstacle coming up. There are mines, and there are also damage areas to the left and right. I guess they're like lava or something. In the later games, they would be lava, but if you drive over that, you just take damage as you drive over it. It's no big deal. And again, I have to question how the hover car is affected by obstacles beneath us, but if it is lava, like I think it is, then I guess convection causes your engine to overheat, and that causes the damage. Something like that, I'm sure. So no other gimmicks to this course, really. It has the music from the final King League course for no reason, which makes the track seem more dangerous than it actually is. I'd have preferred Sand Ocean's music. Sand Ocean is pretty chill, even though you'd think a desert would be pretty hot. Hot and cold jokes, those never get old, right? I've only used them thousands of times in the past. So then, with a couple more laps to go, if you want to save time, you can actually save a little bit of time by using your Superjet over the damage zone. You take a little bit of damage, but in exchange, you avoid any vehicles trying to go through the mine area, and also if you drive diagonally, that does cut you through that part of the course maybe a fraction of a second faster than it normally would. And as you can see, I've made a tiny little error, and that's caused me to fall to third place, but I've quickly recovered to second. I only need to get third or above in order to actually pass the course and go on to the next stage. There's no point system like there would be in F-Zero X, for example, which I think is kind of strange. I mean, the game doesn't really care if you get first place or third place. As long as you got third or above, that's what counts in this game. Even the time record that you get. Also, you don't have to play time attack mode in order to have your times registered in the records. The Grand Prix times also count. So if you use the machines, the other vehicles rather, to increase, get through the course faster somehow, then you're totally allowed to do that. And in fact, I think the speedrunners actually do prefer Grand Prix mode to practice mode. But in practice mode, you can set yourself up with a rival. Anyways, round 4, Forest 2. Not that much different from Forest 1, but it's got some ice in it. A forest full of ice, that makes a lot of sense. No wonder the music that was chosen for this course is from the ice courses later on. Oh, and I want to make a comment about the forest music here. It's just tracks from vanilla F-Zero because I'm pretty sure the ROM hackers couldn't really figure out how to modify the music. Either that or they didn't want to try and find what music track that they could have put in that would be the equivalent of the music that was used in BS-F-Zero 2. Because, fun trivia, when you play Grand Prix mode in BS-F-Zero 2, they actually have a bunch of licensed music. In fact, there's a lot of licensed music in the first BS-F-Zero run as well. A certain artist was, I guess, licensed out to use his music. I don't really know why they did that. I mean, it's pretty random, but, you know, you want to give some attention to relatively unknown artists and bands, you know, that's cool with me. introduced me to some interesting music if you check out the sources. Anyways, for this ROM hack in particular, they just use vanilla F-Zero music. I'm pretty sure you can modify the music in SNES F-Zero, but they probably didn't want to. They probably wanted to focus on the tracks first. And I'm pretty sure there's a modification that allows you to, like, put in your own custom soundtrack anyways. The SNES had the ability to read music from CDs, and a couple of games over in Japan use it. So by enabling F-Zero to use that with another ROM hack, then you could put in your own custom soundtrack if you wanted to. Also, huge shoutouts to the YouTube user, the Blur Cafe, who painstakingly recreated some of the music from the VHS recordings I mentioned in the F-Zero sound font. So that's as official as it's going to get, as far as music goes. So maybe they'll put that in an actual ROM hack one day. That would be really awesome. Thanks, the Blur Cafe, you did a wonderful job with those tracks. So not much to say about Forest 2. It's got that damage zone towards the end of the track, but you can boost across it. And there's no pit area on this version of the course either, so any damage is permanent. I suppose I should be a bit more careful with the Blue Thunder because it probably has the weakest durability out of the BS vehicles. I don't know for sure. Curiously, well, next up is Round 5, Silence 2. I told you there was going to be another Silence course. And this one is especially fun because it's the first and only F-Zero course to have a section with no guardrails. Now, how does that work, you ask? Well, after I failed to hit the jump plate to get over the mines, this is how it works. There are jump plates instead of guardrails. So if you run off of them, you go flying. That was weird. I landed right on top of the green Amazon. Strategic use of that jump zone with no guardrails can allow you to skip a chunk of the course. A very small chunk, but a chunk nonetheless. And I'm probably going to have to use it in order to catch up because it's actually a very convenient shortcut. So after hitting the jump plate for a change, probably because I got slowed down, yep, just boost into this center section here, and I have no idea where the Fire Scorpion just went. It kind of veered off to the left. Probably fell off the course. Now, they don't permanently die when they fall off the course, unfortunately. In Maximum Velocity, however, they do. And Maximum Velocity uses exactly the same format as what you're seeing here. It's just, better in my opinion. Yeah, the thing about the original SNES F-Zero is that I don't think it aged perfectly well, but it's the best-selling F-Zero, so it's the one that everyone remembers the most, and it's primarily why they based F-Zero 99 on the original SNES F-Zero, also because they could just recycle all of the sprites and the course graphics and all of that good stuff. Yeah, I actually kind of like F-Zero 99 a little bit more than I used to, but the thing of it is, like, I would prefer a brand new 3D F-Zero, I'm just saying. Maybe we'll get that one day, but F-Zero 99 has kind of fallen off in popularity a little bit. But I think adding these brand new courses would catch everyone's attention, so Nintendo, if you want to do us all a solid and bring BS F-Zero into F-Zero 99, please do it. I'm sure it will be a huge success for you all. It will be restoring lost content and all that good stuff, and I almost got shoved off the jump plate and into the abyss. I don't want that to happen. I haven't seen Head or Tail of the Fire Scorpion, so I guess it just fell behind that badly. And with BS-1 League out of the way, now that we have cleared the final course, it is time to return to vanilla courses. Next up is the Queen League, which is probably my favorite out of the entire package. Well, actually, I like BS2 League as well, but we'll get to that in the next video. The second video, this is going to be a two-part playthrough. The second video is going to be the King League, which is a monster still, even with broken vehicles like I've got right here, and BS2 League. So look forward to that, everybody. And in the meantime, we can see that the Blue Thunder is trying to surpass the Green Amazon. Guess those two must be rivals. Even the computer can't avoid hitting the mines. That's interesting. I never knew they could still hit the mines, even in this little demo here. It would be super funny if they got knocked into the abyss, but they wouldn't die at that point, because now they're computer cars. They don't count as falling off course anymore. So in case anyone was wondering what's up with the record screen after clearing a league on Master Mode, when you clear a league on Master Mode, the ROM hack decided to add in a little nod to the original broadcast satellite system that the BS-1 games were originally found on, by throwing in a little bit of music and sound effects. Anyways, next up is the Queen League, Round 1, Mute City 2. Not that different from Mute City 1. It's got a little ring in the course, as you can see. This course does have a nice ring to it. That was very much a failure of a pun, I apologize. So does anyone want to talk about how in F-Zero 99, they are constantly recycling Mute City 1 by, like, putting in a secret course, quote-unquote, and then remixing it with another existing course, and then throwing in a little music mashup? That would have been cool if, like, they didn't base their entire extra new content on just recycling Mute City 1 over and over. And also, I wish it didn't take RNG in order to actually encounter it in the game. Because when you set up a race in F-Zero 99, it picks 2 random tracks, and then all the players have to vote on the track to play. Even if you don't want to play on a secret course, if one of them comes up, then 99% of the time the players are going to vote on it, because it's their one chance to play on a secret course. They gotta do it, right? Hope the experience is worth it. Constantly remixing Mute City. Why can't you do that for, like, I guess do that for another venue or something, or bring in something entirely new? You know, I actually checked, and there are cut graphics, well, unused graphics, I should say, unused graphics for entirely new settings in F-Zero 99. They need to use them, because then there would be actual new content never before seen. I would have a reason to play again. Ah, well. I've been ranting about this through the entirety of Mute City 2 because there's not much to say. There is now a second jump plate near the area where I would normally just cut through the dirt with a super jet. So I guess you could jump over it instead. And other than the ring, there's not much to say here. Yeah, you can cut across some of the dirt. So just take this turn, and we have only 1 lap left. I suppose a weakness of the original F-Zero on the SNES is that 5 laps around some of these really big courses does get a little bit boring after a while. Like, F-Zero 99 shortened it to 4 laps, which I think was a good play. And also you have your boost from the get-go. You have a F-Zero X-styled boost, and that is a good idea as well. So, it's not like I hate F-Zero 99. I'm gonna dunk on it forever. But I don't really, like, despise the thing that badly. Alright, so getting back to the actual gameplay here. Next up is a course that I absolutely love for its music. Round 2, Port Town 1. Now there's a famous jump that you can do off the first jump plate that lets you cut off a section of the track, and it still works in F-Zero 99. You just have to play it a specific way in order to shorten the amount of time it takes to use it. Because the idea is that if you try and take that shortcut, it's going to, like, slow you down significantly, because it has to force you to, like, there's an anti-cheat system, but you can't actually save time by using it if you play it in a very specific way. But I'm not going to use it because that's really more of a time attack thing. If you try it while you're in first place, that's actually not really that good. Maybe if you try it while in third place, you could cut ahead of some of the other vehicles. But if you try it in first place, you're risking losing first place. So I wouldn't do it in general. Also, it's very risky because if you mess up the jump in any capacity, you have to hit the super jet and then hit the jump plate at a very precise angle. And if you mess it up, then you're going to take a plunge into the abyss. Like I almost did just now. That was very tough. Like, see? That's the beauty of Master Mode. The vehicles are still very unruly. They can smash into you on a whim if they want to. One little mistake, and you are going to fall behind. So this area that I just passed through, you see that it had a magnet trap on the sides. Those will pull you towards them where you take damage, so you have to drive at an angle, and then angle yourself after you pass each trap in order to drive through there in a straight fashion. Safe, efficient driving. That is the core tenet of the original F-Zero. As odd as it may seem to say that this game is all about safe, efficient driving when it's actually very dangerous. Like, who knows who thought in universe that courses 30,000 feet in the air with hover cars that could very easily smash into each other, speed so high that in any, like in real life, if you were driving at this speed, you would probably just, like, go flying through the windshield when your vehicle inevitably smashed into something. But, you know, reality is overrated. Reality is very overrated. That's why we have the sci-fi genre. 2 courses down and 3 more to go. Next up is a very short course, so I actually don't mind 5 laps. I actually don't mind 5 laps on Port Town either. But, course 3, or round 3, Red Canyon 1. A very nice beat in the background for this course. And it is also the homeland of the driver of the Fire Stingray, Samurai Goro. Otherwise known as Pink Grandma to certain viewers of Game Center CX, such as myself. Game Center CX. The F-Zero episode for Game Center CX was a lot of fun. That's all I want to say. Also, if you have not watched Game Center CX, please do. So getting back to Red Canyon, you can see that there were a couple of jump plates. And if you boost through those jump plates, you can cut off a very small section of the course, maybe saves you a fraction of a second. But for time attackers, fractions of seconds mean everything. I haven't mentioned it yet, by the way. You can also increase your jump distance by holding the down button, and you definitely want to hold the down button when you are completing a jump and landing back on the track, because if you don't, you'll bounce on the track, take some damage, and lose some speed. I don't know why they did that. Holding down is actually very difficult on the controller I was using because I have to use a stick. It only registers down if the stick is in a very precise position. So I should probably look into maybe fixing that, but no matter, I work with what I have to. I was using an emulator for this, even though at this point I could probably find the technology to run this on an actual SNES, but I wanted to make sure the graphics were nice and smooth for the viewers. And in fact, there is an emulator that I am aware of that actually can run F-Zero in widescreen, 16:9 ratio. But that doesn't really appeal to me, in my opinion. What it does is that it displays more of the track on the left and right sides of the screen. Like, I had to put up a background, but as you can see, like, if you run in that emulator, then you will be able to see more parts of the track, but it doesn't show the cars if they're, like, too far to the left or right. So you would have the cars just vanish when they went out of your field of vision, and I think that would be very jarring for me. So I decided, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm more used to playing F-Zero this way. I don't want to have to get used to it again. What is that car just doing there in the middle of the road? It's just sitting there. That was weird. Then again, it was also weird that an enemy bumped behind me and actually pushed me forward. Anyways, round 4, Whiteland 1. One of my favorite courses in this game. Primarily because of the music. It's a nice, cool, chill track because we are in an ice world, you see. Even if it is just reskinned Mute City, with regards to that background in the distance anyways. Lots of jump plates going over dirt, which means there's an opportunity to cut off parts of the track. And by Green Amazon, I guess you're out of the race. Wow, I've never had that happen before. I'm playing so many old games recently, like Ocarina of Time, where I just have things happen that have never happened to me before. I'm playing these old games and either rediscovering things that I didn't know before, or just having things happen that have never happened before. I've never smashed a vehicle off the edge of the screen like that. That's amazing. Anyways, you can use your super jet to get through the dirt area, and that last jump plate is the one you want to hit if you want to cut off a portion of the track. It's interesting that out of the 2D F-Zeros, by 2D I mean SNES and GBA, this is the only one that strictly enforces any attempt to take a shortcut or go off course. Because you might have noticed that there was a chunk of course that we could not actually get to. There it just was, as a matter of fact. That is actually part of a future course. All of the F-Zero courses exist on the same plane of existence, if you will, so there are situations where you can see another course from the track you're currently racing on, which I think adds a bit of realism as well. I mean, the two Whiteland courses are so close to each other because they're on the same planet, presumably, assuming all of these races are on different planets. I don't know, they could be. But they might all be on Earth. Oh, this was a very unfortunate error, getting bumped by the Fire Scorpion like that. Luckily, I did not fall too far behind. And if I were feeling a little more gutsy, I would cut off more of the track, but you can see that machine is that. The Luna Bomber is now so far ahead of me, I don't think I'm catching up to it at all. It's a good thing I don't have to get first place, because how would I ever catch up at this point? You can just barely see it off in the distance. But no matter how much I boost, I don't think I'm going to catch up, because the Luna Bomber is the fastest vehicle in the game for sure. Maybe even faster than the Fire Stingray, but the Fire Stingray has a very high top speed. The problem with it is the acceleration. Luna Bomber doesn't have that problem, but it is very much it has lower durability than the Golden Fox, if you can believe it. Of course, that's not a problem for the computer. It can ram into as many walls as it wants. They can't be destroyed. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now for the final course of the Queen League. Round 5, Whiteland 2. It might seem boring to have 2 Whiteland courses in a row, but this one comes with an alternate theme, an alternate mix of the original Whiteland theme for the final race of the game, and it is so excellent. It really hypes you up, gets my blood going, very hot for such a cold track. And notably, this track features, well, first of all, it features damage zones you can actually just go across if you want to cut off parts of the track. That allows you to get past the AI, but you want to be careful, because if you approach this oncoming jump plate with not enough speed, that is a very long gap, the longest in the game. So if you don't hit it with enough speed, then even if you hold the down button to increase your jump distance, then you're just done. You can't get across it. You're gonna go plummeting. So on the future laps, as long as you clear that first laps and you have a super jet for future laps, you can use it in case of an emergency if you approach that jump plate with not enough speed, because the super jet will send you straight to 500 kilometers an hour, and this is also a good spot to use it, because it'll allow you to recover your speed after cutting through the damage zones. And I think you can also get a better view of Whiteland 1 from Whiteland 2. It is actually possible, if you land on the jump plate on the other side of that gap, you can actually bounce on the jump plate and go straight into Whiteland 1. Of course, as soon as you land, like this flying saucer is going to show up and pick you back up and hopefully return you to the original Whiteland 2 course. So, it's not like you can make the race unwinnable. But if you try that, you're probably going to fall so far behind that, you know, there's no point in trying it anyways, because you'll lose too much time. Alright, 4th place and only 2 laps to go. I have to get into 3rd at least. So, whoa, that was, it's almost like the Fire Scorpion is using those cars as weapons. But that strategy has backfired, as the Fire Scorpion and the orange car went straight into the corner where I was able to slip past them very easily. It's good to see that the vehicles can at least interact with the orange cars and they just don't phase through them or anything. As you can see right there, the orange car actually landed, like, before the jump plate, which should mean that it fell into the abyss, but it did not. Instead, it hit the jump plate and bounced again, and that caused me to run into it. I didn't know where it was going to go, and now I've fallen to 5th place. So I've got some work to do. Cutting past this vehicle should be very simple. Cut, and I'm good, and I can catch up to the Fire Scorpion, which has managed to surpass me, but I'm past it once again. Oh, I hope this doesn't. That mistake could cost me. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close, but I've slammed into the Fire Scorpion, and I take 3rd place, and I have cleared the Queen League on Master. That is going to do it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. The second part of this ROM hack playthrough is coming on Friday, and we will play through the BS-2 League and the dreaded King League on Master difficulty. And that is still a monster of a league, no matter what form of F-Zero you're playing on. Unless it's like Novice Mode. Novice Mode is very easy, but if you're on Expert, and especially Master, the King League is a grueling challenge. So I hope you're looking forward to that. I am Ephraim225, and this has been the first part of BS F-Zero Deluxe. No BS here, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back at the end of the week with the second part of this playthrough. And we will see if my driving skills still hold up after so many years of not playing this game. But I've been playing F-Zero 99, so it probably balances out. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you for the second part of BS F-Zero Deluxe. See you later, everyone!